Well, Amazon is here, unfortunately. It's like, do you want to go to the store? Do you want to get? I don't know. It's crazy.
You got that right.
I was watching this video. This Pentagon orders company to stop making faith-based dog tags.
Really? I didn't even see that. That's crazy.
Yeah, the company that's been making the putting Bible verses on dog tags for like 20 years, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, one person complains, and the DoD changes its policy and says that it doesn't, it violates their policy that you can't,
Wow.
and they put a cease and desist order. The Pentagon put a cease and desist order on this company.
I'm not, it's hard to not realize it's a war on Christians for sure. Since day one of all of this mess, it's
Oh
been
yeah,
getting a lot worse.
it's so ridiculous. Like, just uh so
I
what do
guess
you want to talk? Go ahead.
that's a that's a good segue into all this crap that's going on with people being like caught off guard with people they're trusting,
Mhm.
like in the government. They're all, oh, Trump this and DeSantis that and Rand Paul even, and it's all like they're not realizing it's political theater,
Mhm.
and that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, exactly. What's going on with Rand Paul? I didn't hear about that.
Rand Paul, like you see how he's been grilling Fauci in Congress like the whole time,
Yeah.
and he must have evidence about him. So why does he keep having all these videos recorded of himself? I think it's just to prop himself up and to become more famous and maybe become a bigger political threat when it comes to maybe winning the presidency instead of actually being a true patriot and putting the irons on Fauci and giving him the perp walk
Well, yeah. I mean,
and sending him to prison.
I don't understand why that guy is still, like, Fauci is still doing anything. Like, we definitely know from, the evidence that's been shown that,
Right.
he's been lying. He's been. It's like, why is he still in the position that he's in?
Yeah. That's a good question. It must be because he has dirt on other people, or they're afraid of what's going to happen to him if they go after him.
Dude, it's just one guy. Like, this is what I don't understand about, like, jobs, or like versus like politicians or whatnot. It's positions of power. Like, it seems like, like with normal jobs or whatever, you screw up or whatever, and then you get fired, right? Or you get reprimanded, or whatever else. But in these positions of power, or politicians or whatever, they don't. It's, I mean, I understand it's like a good old boy system or something like that, but
Right.
it's like there's two different standards, which I don't understand. Why we're still entertaining the thought of having those individuals in power like that.
Yeah. It's they just don't want to shake that tree that's always been there. They don't want to have anything be different. The people that have the power don't want to give it up, and the people like us, like we're actually doing more than most people, but even still, like having a conversation is effective to like expose the truth and shed light on the evil that's
Oh
going
yeah.
on. And it's not always necessarily just evil, it's just them being incompetent and just wanting power and an easy job and getting all their money from all their friends. It's just way too deep for anyone really to
Well,
take.
and I think we've talked about this before, is that, politicians making millions of dollars when they should be there to serve. And that's not what they
Oh,
should be
absolutely.
focusing on, is amassing a huge amount of wealth, you know? I mean,
Agreed.
do it on your own time, but don't do it on the people's time, right? Don't do
Yeah,
it off the
correct.
backs of the people.
Right. They're getting rich off of the tax dollars
Mhm.
instead of, if it was just their own salary and them making savvy investments, and that's one thing. But they're making savvy investments because they know what's going to do well, because they're going to pass legislation
Mhm.
for said company like big pharma to do well.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what it's mostly about, is money and control.
Well, isn't it like it's almost similar to insider trading if you look at it, you
Right.
know,
Yeah,
like
it's
they
only
know what's going
illegal
to
if
happen.
you do it. Yeah, it's only illegal if you do it. If the government does it, it's fine.
It's
Because
it's
they
so
do everything. They steal, they murder, they embezzle, which is stealing basically, just a different term for it. Launder money overseas, which is what they did with the whole Afghanistan debacle. That's a whole different story too.
oh yeah.
It's just so crazy right now. And they're trying to force people's hands to do stuff that's crazy so they can have more of an iron grip on people,
Yeah.
is my feeling.
Well, yeah, I mean you can slowly see it in different states that, I mean, shit, that's why I'm, said that before. I mean, that's why I'm leaving Oregon, is Oregon's just turning into I want to say a cesspool or something, but it's where people
Hmm.
are being told what to do, and then they don't think all the way through for themselves of how stupid it is, like for
Right.
example, so I walked into my coffee shop, or I was sitting in my coffee shop, and I like to people watch, right? And a majority of people that go into a
Yeah.
coffee shop here in Oregon are masked, I mean, it's like whatever, if you want to wear a mask, it's cool,
Hmm.
whatever. But um these two ladies walk in, and so when I walked in there, there's this little, which is weird to me when I saw it, but there was this table with a little box on it that had masks in there, and it said, you know please, take a mask if you don't have a mask and wear it or whatever. And and of course I don't wear a mask, so I'm like, whatever. So and I've
Right.
had conversations with the owners, whatever. um and so I sat down, and so these two ladies walk in, shortly afterwards, and I'm watching them, and they didn't walk in with a mask. And they looked at the box, and you could see there's them talking amongst themselves, and then they snickered and they said no, and then they walked to the counter and ordered their drink. It's like, to me, that's what it should be. Like it should be about
Right.
personal choice, you know. But and then OSHA here has rules that the employees need to be wearing masks, right? But everybody else thinks that implies to them in OSHA. Like it doesn't. Like they can make their own choice,
Correct.
you know. We've probably talked about that many times, but um,
Oh
it's
yeah.
so.
It just goes to that whole, they're trying to weaponize everything and federalize every aspect of everybody's lives.
Mhm.
And that's the whole thing that happened in the Holocaust in 1930s Germany. They didn't automatically day one day, like they did one day, but they didn't on day one start to go up and round up people. They did it suddenly, like they're doing now with the whole mass. And then everybody was demonizing the people that didn't want to comply,
Mhm.
saying that they were selfish for wanting to be free. And I even see that at my job, and there's a lot of veterans there. So
Mhm.
they're like, yeah, people don't want to wear them and they don't want to comply and listen to authorities because they're like, my freedom. And like, this guy is a veteran and he's a fucking bootlicker. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And like, he completely forgot his oath to the country that he served. And then it's just stuff like that, like the whole othering of people, and they're going to justify what could possibly happen soon, which could be like they're going to round up people that are a public health crisis and a threat to the public health, which is anyone that's against their extreme Marxist narrative, which is they want anyone. That's how communism works. In my last blog post on the site, like it's so effective that they have to kill anyone that goes against it. That's the only way they'll be able to do it. And they're never going to be able to stomp out an idea, which is freedom. You're never
Right.
going to be able to get rid of that.
Exactly. I mean, I think for any, what was it? I was thinking. any agenda such as that, you have to
Yep.
squash the dissenters, right? You have to get
Hmm.
rid of those kinds of people, because as long as those people are around, you're not going to be able to get full compliance or full, bowing down and all that stuff. But which so stupid. I mean, I understand the concept, but it's America is about freedom, you know.
Right.
And when we're like,
It's
we're
supposed to be.
yeah, supposed to be, when we're pushed and told to do certain things, to me it's like, why are people even letting this happen? Like, it's just, and this is what it
Hmm.
is. It's a slow boil. It's like putting
Hmm.
a crawdad into a pan and slowly boiling it.
Yeah, now you're making me hungry, but yeah, you're right.
That's true.
That's some
I
good
would try
food.
not to mention food because I gotta eat food too. Um, no, it's just it's so it's so ridiculous how people are just being bamboozled and not thinking for themselves.
Right.
You know?
It's getting crazy, brother.
Yeah. So, what are some of the things that we mentioned on the page that we want to talk about?
Well, we can talk about Ron DeSantis possibly being another Trojan horse like Trump, and the whole how that ties into the whole QAnon crap that was probably fake to begin with, and like
Hmm.
how they were all hating on QAnon and Trump for them to only be a Trojan horse, possibly, or they were just really egotistical and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on that?
That's I haven't really looked into that, to be honest. Um,
Okay.
so why don't
It's
you?
probably for the best. It's not really anything other than like back when the Bolsheviks took over in Russia or did their color revolution in Russia, they did a psyop called Operation Truth, and it was basically to give the patriots and the freedom fighters false hope
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
there was white hats underground patriots that were fighting back, but in reality they weren't. So it was basically to quell a rebellion. So
Hmm.
people are distracted while you're screwing them over and going to take over. And that's what I feel the whole QAnon thing was. And Trump possibly was part of that too,
Oh,
because he did a lot of good things, obviously, but they obviously let him do it or they would have killed him if he
sure.
was definitely against him, like they did with Kennedy. And that's what I'm
Well,
thinking DeSantis is too. They're trying to get all the conservatives into one area
yeah, because
so they're
everybody's
able to
trying.
deal with them better, probably.
That's an interesting, yeah, because there's a lot of people moving to what, Florida, um,
Yep. And
Florida,
that's
and
prime hurricane territory, and you can't shoot your way out of a hurricane. If weather manipulation is a thing, they can just take the whole state out like that.
jeez,
Not saying that's just a deep ass conspiracy theory, not saying it's true or anything like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's just anything's possible nowadays
yeah.
with all those tornadoes.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It was
like
crazy.
any kind of, I think, what was it? If we're going conspiracy theories here, I've always wondered about the
That's,
like chemtrails, right? Like that's one thing that I've always
Mhm.
wondered about. Like you got a clear blue sky, and all of a sudden there's these lines that go across and it's just like, and it disperses out, and then you get clouds. You're
Right.
like, can I just enjoy the blue sky, please? Like, just let me
Yeah,
enjoy
correct.
it. You know?
Yeah. There's some truth to that with them trying to do, they can cause rain from that kind of stuff.
Mm.
So it wouldn't be far off to where they're doing weaponizing weather to be able to take out people because they're not going to be able to take the guns. So they can just do it that way. Makes more sense to me. That's what I would do if I was a sick bastard like they are. And honestly, I don't think there's any more conspiracy theories. I think it's just spoiler alerts when you think about it, because it seems to be everything's coming true. The only thing that hasn't is aliens being exposed or whatever those could be. demons
Yeah.
or something.
Do you think,
Who
okay, so on
knows?
that, do you think like all the UFO stuff that's been released is basically just distraction?
Yeah, it could be. Or it's just them soft disclosing because it's our technology that we have.
Hmm.
Because that's probably what it mostly is most of the craft that we're seeing. There's a popular one, the TR-3B, which is the triangular shaped one that's always seen out there.
Yeah.
That's rumored to be Navy aircraft that they probably stole the tech from a crashed alien craft, maybe, or
Hmm.
working with them somehow. Who knows? It's just all mind boggling. There's too much going on. They're bombarding us from every direction.
Yeah.
We don't know what to focus on, and that's the problem.
Yeah. And
We
that's
can only
that's
focus on our communities at a local level.
well, isn't that that's what was it? I'm trying to think. Like that's just propaganda or something. There's a term for it.
Mhm.
It's like when you're bombarding in all different areas and trying to distract, like when like when Obama, was in and there's always all these stories, that like the news was talking about. And then there was whatever he was doing underneath, and I was always wondering, that was me all the time. I'm like, okay, so all these things are going on. What is really going on in the background, right?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely getting crazy.
Mhm.
It's like they're distracting us from realizing that this is a war on religion. Um, I'm not sure what if you believe in God or not, but I do.
I do. Yeah.
I have a feeling you do too.
Mhm.
I have a feeling this is all leading up to the rise of the Antichrist because all of this is definitely looking like the Book of Revelations. I'm not necessarily saying it's the end of humanity yet, but it could
No,
be.
but it's really
It's
leading
looking
up
like it.
to some of the events. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're starting to build the temple in Israel that the Antichrist is supposed to as his castle. They're starting to build it, and there's stuff showing up that they use in the dyes and the fabric and like the decorations that haven't been seen for centuries or thousands of years that all of a sudden just showed up like a berry or a flower that they use in one of the dyes for the robes for the priests for this just all of a sudden grows out of nowhere, and that shit does not happen in nature without somebody being in control of it.
Yeah, exactly.
um and there's more of that going on too, and there's a YouTube channel, Monkey Works, that covers this stuff a lot.
Hmm.
He's a veteran as well, and he was in intelligence and avionics, so he does a lot of like the flight patterns going around the world, like to see what's going on and where things are happening.
Yeah,
I'll
I think
send
I
you a
watched the
link to
channel.
check him
Yeah.
out. Okay,
He was
yeah, he's pretty good.
he had this screen and he had all different like all the different airplanes and
Right?
whatnot that were going
Yeah,
on.
yeah. It's good to see that going around, and he's hilarious, by the way, with like what he calls Biden flashbang because when you get disoriented by a flashbang grenade, that's kind of how he acts.
Yeah.
And then he calls Harris. I think he calls her Bob Marley because of her weed thing. She made a joke about a while ago. And then he calls the like DC area the brown zone because of his pooping problem. It's pretty funny. At least we can laugh about things and still get the truth out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, he covered a lot about that stuff in the temple growing up. It's kind of exciting and scary at the same time because obviously Christians should not be afraid. Well, we're gonna be afraid because we're humans, but we shouldn't be afraid because of
Right.
what this means. They're so desperate that their evil plan is failing, and everybody's waking up more than they thought they would. That they're going to have to accelerate their elimination program, basically. Um, and it's hard
Well,
to think if the vaccine is the mark of the beast or not, because you can't do anything without it because they're about to enforce that everywhere. Like you can't do anything without it.
well, yeah. I mean, like here, I just looked at it. It was for OSHA. They're wanting to implement that the vaccine passports, but they're saying, I emailed representative, because I was like, say, hey, you know what? By the way, I say, I want to say no to this. Just kind of put my, and I got an email back, and there's like, no, it's supposed to be voluntary because we're gonna try it out. And I'm like, yeah, thinking to myself,
Yeah.
no, because so there was another thing I saw on OSHA that they were, one of the Oregon Save Oregon websites or whatever that here, there was talk about that there's going to be vaccine passports and then mass permanently here, and then like $500 fine per day per person that you'll get if you're not like wearing your mask or using your vaccine passport or whatever. And I'm like, peace out, people. Done.
Right. Like, what do they expect to happen? They're trying to force people's hands, and people will act violently from that kind of shit. Because, like, you're going to overwhelm them with these fines, and you made them unemployed because if they're going to make a decision not to wear the mask or get the vax, where are you going to get the money from? And
Yeah.
it's getting crazy. They're eventually just going to say, forget the fines, come to this quarantine place we have for you, which is camp. You never get on that bus.
No.
Never.
No.
I'd rather die in my front yard before that happens. And I think they have that in mind. They probably have a plan for that. Who knows though? You never know. This whole thing could be foiled too. This could all be a test. They might not be all in on it yet, just to see what happens. It's getting crazy, but I don't think it's a test. I think they're all in. But they haven't even released the dangerous virus yet. The one that'll actually do the damage. They released a weak ass one, and it did all this. What's going to happen if they release something that kills 30% of the people that it infects?
Well,
and there's bodies in the street.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like that's so. When I think of pandemic, when I think of a virus that should have been having this much attention, it should not advocating for it, but I'm saying like it should have been one that has 30% or what, mortality rates or whatever, not something that has a 99.6 survival rate. That you don't lock down people for that. Like it's just the same thing as like you looking at the flu. We haven't been locked down for the flu. It doesn't happen. But you're locking us
exactly.
down for,
that's what's mind-boggling.
Yeah, you're locking us down for this. It's like ridiculous.
Something that's worse. Something that's less than the flu now. With the Omicron, it only killed one person so far, I think. And it's crazy. It's like they're a narcissistic, psychopathic serial killer that loves playing with their prey before they kill it. And like it's like they released the cold virus so they can scare people, so they can steal the wealth, the resources, your livelihoods, your spirits, and then eventually they will crush you if you don't fight back. But they keep forgetting indivisible is in our national anthem and our prayers and everything. You cannot beat the American spirit. You might be able to kill some of us, but you're not going to beat all of us. But they might take the whole country eventually, but it's not going to be without a fight.
You're still going to have people that are just like, you know what? Fuck off, people. Come on. Like,
yeah, exactly. You're not wrong about that.
I'm glad at this point that I went into the military. I'm glad at this point that I got out when I did.
Same.
Because
Me too.
I'm more like I can't imagine what I would have been doing if I didn't, right? Like,
right.
I'm not saying I would have complied, but like at least I have more of an understanding of what it means to be a patriot or patriotic or
correct. Yep. One of the few with a high enough brain to get out. Even if you were in, I know you would still be the same way, but it would be a lot harder to rebel because they'd have legal precedents to arrest you and put you in the brig and stuff, or just kick your ass out.
Well, I would happily.
Yeah, the same with me.
I would happily sit in the brig. and be like, I don't give a fuck.
Hmm.
I'm not going to take that shit. Sorry.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to wear a mask. It's
Agreed.
stupid.
Hmm.
Ugh.
I'm the same way. I got into a little bit of trouble when I was in a couple of LORs I got because I wouldn't comply with the bullshit they tried to play politics with. And
Well, that's why I got out, was the politics.
yeah, it's insane. I've seen a couple of people, even in the Air Force, that were all gung ho about like martial law type mentality. Like
Mhm.
they were the shit because they had the uniform, and I'm like, that's not how it is. You
No.
are the government's supposed to be the bitch of the citizens. They're supposed to work for them, and whatever the citizens want, they get pretty much, as long as it's not obviously evil or whatever,
Right.
or as long as you're
Yeah.
not trampling on everybody else's rights. And they just don't understand that at all.
Mm-mm.
It's just uneven because they have all the guns, they have all the firepower. That's the only reason they're able to do this. Because back when this country was founded, private citizens had warships, they had cannons, they had massive private armies that were actually contracted by the government to fight. So I don't understand what's going on here. Like they knew if citizens had the same weaponry, it would be game over for them.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's one of the ways to control, um, a society is,
Hmm.
take that away from the people, their ability to
Right.
defend themselves.
Correct.
You know,
And the
and
whole world's seeing that right now.
mhm. Oh yeah. I mean, what was it? We're looking so bad on the world stage. You know, like I
Only
watched.
only into the mainstream, not when it comes to the grassroots.
Okay, well,
That's
okay,
changing.
politically, I guess, yeah.
But I know what you mean. I know what you mean, though. Exactly. They
Like,
find Biden weak.
oh God, did you? Okay, so I watched the five. We're talking about Biden and his conversation about. Oh no, so he was asked if he was going to run for the next term, and he's like,
Oh yeah, I saw the
you
clip.
just saw that clip. He's like, if you if I'm the same, if I'm a what was it? If I'm feeling the same that I am now, yes, I will. Like if I'm not like sick or whatever. And they're
Hmm.
all going, did he just identify that he was not doing well? Like,
Yeah, he's not.
no, he's
I think
not.
he has COVID or something worse.
Dude has
Yeah.
like no brain. Like, it's just like,
Yeah, he's not going to be alive to run on the next presidency. He's too old and frail and sick.
hmm?
I feel bad for him. It's like they're abusing an elder.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I don't like his policies. Like, I don't like what he's
Correct.
doing, but he's still a human being. Like he's
Right.
still, um, still deserves humanity, right?
To a
But
certain extent, yes.
yeah, certainly extent. But for him to be paraded and handled and controlled doesn't, to me, state a person that needs to be in the commanding chief and all that position.
Yep. I'm right there with you on that
and
one
and
for
they're
sure.
they're pushing him and keeping him in it. It's like, no, just retire, just go
Hmm.
away, go
Right.
back to your basement and take care of yourself.
Correct. I had a crazy thought because of how Biden and Trump are kind of giving each other kudos lately. Because like you're trying to give him credit for the vaccine rollout,
Oh
Biden
man.
was, and then Trump was trying to give him some kudos too, starting to think that they were kind of working together to, well, which would make sense if they're on the same team, but who knows? That's just my brain going off into the weird areas it does.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at I think if you look, I'm not saying looking into things too much, but like
Mhm.
there's a lot of connection points that you can probably make, based off of different speech patterns and communication and like how they're talking or whatever. um, but I think in reality the only understanding of what's going on is to really talk to the person as a source, because because that's the way media
Yeah,
is. I mean,
absolutely.
yeah, it's all control. It's like our perception is controlled by what they want to put out, right?
Right.
Context. I mean, it's in anything. I mean, it's in businesses, it's in
Mm-hmm.
schools, it's in churches. It's all about perception. It's all about what the person then that's in power, or that's not necessarily in power, but it's like in the position to teach you or show you something. They're going to put it through their perspective, their lens.
Correct.
And the thing I like about what we're doing is being able to give you this information, give you the links. You guys can just do your own thing and research it and look at it, because I'm not expecting you to believe
Right.
whatever I believe, wholeheartedly and
Exactly.
blindly. It'd be stupid to expect you to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I do with people that ask me questions, even if they're more or less on the same lines as us. They ask me, "What do you think about this?" And then I say like a one sentence answer, and I'm like, Just look it up on your own and then come back to me," because I'd not rather dilute them with my opinions, even though some of them are based off of facts. I'd
Yeah.
rather them form their own and then go from there and have a discussion, which is nice about what we're having here,
Mhm.
being able to talk about it. And eventually we'll bring some other people on, even if they're differently minded, and go from there and have a conversation.
Yeah. I mean, uh, I've been looking at different kinds of news sources and whatnot.
Hmm.
Um, other than the main ones and whatnot. And some of
Yeah,
these,
you don't want to go to CNN, that's for sure.
no, no,
Bunch of
no,
pedophiles.
not even like, no, that's not even like my consideration at all. But what I've noticed
Yeah,
from
of
a lot of
course.
these news sources is um, what they're saying is that they're unbiased information, and they're basically just giving you, like they're saying, okay, this happened today. Okay. It's just the information. It's not necessarily the opinion or the
Right.
breakdown, what I think it is or whatever. It's just,
Hmm.
here you go.
Yeah,
Which I think
exactly.
that's
The only way I'm okay with an opinion is if they're going for morality. That's about it.
well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can give me an opinion on something, on what you think about, but then there's a difference between what you think about and what you think that I should think. Right. And
Big time.
yeah,
There you go.
and telling me what to think.
Right.
It's
You just hit it right there in the head. They're trying to force their ideologies into people's brains, and if you reject it, they want you dead. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's exactly what they want. They want you dead.
Mhm.
And you're seeing that in your family units nowadays. I've seen family that I've known for a while, because you just have that gut feeling. Um, since I got out into the military and out of the military, some of them called me crazy because I was a conspiracy theorist, and if I own or don't own any guns, um, they thought I was crazy for owning guns or whatever, and I knew automatically that they would be the bootlickers and the Nazi sympathizers and the people that would turn in Jewish people back in the day, and will turn in the non-vaccinated if it comes to that. I knew since day one I couldn't trust them.
No.
I can only trust true patriots, and even then, you never know. But you just know when you can and when you can't, and it's just crazy. And now there's family members, friends, and anybody like they're avoiding non-vaccinated people, and like they don't want to hang out with them. And then and then if this all ends and goes back to normal, whatever the hell that's gonna look like, they'll beg for forgiveness, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do that.
No.
Like once I realize what they are, you're completely done out of my life. That's up to God to forgive them. I just don't have that in me to do that.
No.
It's
Yeah.
a big person that can do that, though.
Oh yeah. I I have regular conversations with my dad about stuff, and
Hmm.
him and I are politically different. Like, you know, but I mean, we're able to have a conversation, and, you know, a healthy conversation, and, you know, because
course.
we acknowledge it, but, you know, which it should be. I mean, you should be able to have a conversation with somebody and not necessarily be ostracized or, you know, told you're wrong or whatever. But I just think that, being told that you're wrong for something when it's your opinion, or which, you know, or ideology or whatever else, I don't know. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And they want us to respect their alternate lifestyles, and if we ridicule them,
Yeah.
they'll do the same thing to us. Like, they'll cut us out of their lives completely, or hate us, or anything like that. And like, it's not natural. It's not natural to be a certain way. That's all I'm going to say. And to them criticizing like me being like like anyone being a freedom lover, like especially me, like it's in my fucking DNA to
Yeah.
be like that. Like, it's in my DNA to tell the government to fuck off. You can't tell me what to do. Just leave me alone.
Well, and that's why we started the United States. Like, that's why, you know,
Right,
was just leave me alone, let me do my own thing. And, you know, I don't, it's so crazy how it's just, it's
right.
people want to be controlled. I don't understand that.
I don't get it either. Some
Like,
people are into that kind of thing, but
and
I just don't get it.
this is one of the things, that, that I was talking with my wife about the other day, was with, like, the way that, you know, not specifically Oregon, but like people that have, well, actually, I say Oregon, is that people here. So, you know, for the longest time with the pandemic, you know, they're all told by the governor to wear a mask, right? Wherever they went and everything
Yes.
else, and everybody was waiting for it. And then, they had the time where they actually were told we didn't have to wear a mask anymore for a little bit, and all the mandates were raised and all that stuff. And people were like, "Ooh, take out the mask, yay!" You know. And then they, reissue the mandates and stuff like that, and people were going to back to wearing masks. I'm thinking to myself, so if they came, like you said earlier, if all of a sudden this is all done and they don't have to wear their mask and whatever else, it's like, to me, I don't trust those people.
Right.
Because they're easily swayed, or easily controlled, or easily listen, you know, they easily listen to somebody else telling them what they need to do. They're not thinking for themselves,
Absolutely.
you know.
Yeah. It's really sad and pathetic. Um, that's all there needs to be said. And if they're this unwavering when things aren't really that bad yet, because their physical lives are not at jeopardy yet. And what's going to happen when chaos happens? They're screwed.
Yeah.
That's why they want the control of the government, because they're afraid of their own consequences and freedoms and decisions to think for themselves.
Well, yeah, they're afraid of making decisions for
Hmm.
themselves, which is, that's
I
the
don't get
part
it.
of being an adult. You make a
Right.
decision, that it's part of adulting, like, you know, I like to say it.
Hmm.
You make a decision for yourself, and you weigh you know, the pros and cons, and then you make that decision. You don't go, okay, so I'm not going to look at pros and cons, and I'm going to wait for the government to tell me what I should do today. Should I put a pair of pants on, or should I put a pair of shorts on? No,
Right.
I'm going to put a pair of pants on because I want to put a pair of pants on, you know? It's
Absolutely.
ridiculous, but
That's the same thing that goes with this is non-political, but it's related. Like when I'm at work, I see the lady that's been there 20 plus years, and like she's just going through the basic motions, bare minimum to keep the job. And I don't want to be one of those people that does want that control and the stability and the consistency of a lame ass job all the time. You got to take a chance on yourself
yeah.
and actually leap out there and do something, whether it's, you know, a podcast like this or just writing a blog or anything, and try to make something of yourself. And who knows, it could turn into something, or it might flop. You never know. But you got to take a chance on yourself, or you're gonna be miserable. And when you're on your deathbed, I don't want to be asking what if.
Yeah.
I'm I'm fucking terrified of that. I am terrified of that. I think about that almost every day. And that's what motivates me with my weight training and doing this and my schoolwork. And it's just crazy. And I'm sure you're the same way.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I try not to live with regrets. Like that's not something that I want to look back and go, oh, well, I could have done that, like, or I shouldn't have done that. I mean, if I'd done something stupid or whatever, I'm not going to go back and be like, oh, I should have not done that, because that led me to where I'm at right now. Right. But leaving something on the table when I could have been doing it, I don't want to be on my deathbed going, hey guys, or hey, I should have done that. Like, why didn't I do that?
Right.
Like that's
big time.
So that's what I mean. That's what we're doing now. I mean, it's like the podcast here, and then like, with my wife and I, like her and I going and buying an RV here soon and traveling in the United States. Like we've wanted to do that for 12 years, and we're like, you got the opportunity, go do it.
Exactly.
I mean, some people are like, you're crazy, but I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, let's hope you can get some Starlink. You'll have internet all over the place, man.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I'm waiting for that to be in my area so I can ditch the damn cable company's internet. Because I'll support Elon Musk any way I can if I can. Like the shit he's been doing recently, amazing. Like, have you seen his Twitter battle with Senator Warren?
I've seen a little bit of it. Why don't you talk about it? I want to hear it.
That dude straight up called her Senator Karen on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
that is the best mic drop I've ever seen. And he's going after the deep state or the New World Order. Like, and he might be able to pull it off because he's rich and he knows what he's doing, clearly.
He likes to put, I like him because he likes to push buttons. Like,
yep, exactly.
Like, I think
that's the only people. Person. Yeah, that's the only people I'm friends with anymore. Like you push buttons. That's why you became friends, to be honest with you. Like, I'm tired of being friends with cowards. And it's crazy. And yeah, on that note, I've had some friends that I thought were not sunshine patriots, but they are. Some of them, obviously, I don't care that they gave into the vaccine, but the way their behavior has been crazy.
I mean, it all goes back to personal
complying.
Too. Yeah.
Right.
Don't comply just to comply. Like, do something like that. I'm not in anybody that's listening. I am not saying don't take the vaccine. I'm not saying don't wear a mask.
Right.
I'm saying
same here.
Make your own fucking choice. Like,
correct.
Like, but just my thing is don't tell me I should do anything. Like, and look down on me because I'm not doing it. Right?
Yep. Don't force the shot on me unless you want the same reciprocated back to you. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, because I might be that one that injects it into you, and I'm not gonna inject into the right spot. No, I'm just kidding. That's just
exactly. Well, I wasn't talking about a needle.
Nope.
It's just crazy. This whole mess has been fun. At least we live in interesting times, and it's not boring.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's for sure. We might see Jesus in our time frame. You never know.
I might see him in my travels. I don't know.
I think you probably would know if you're in the presence. I think we would know if he shows up.
Oh yeah.
Because that's when he starts just hammering down on these motherfuckers. Like, they think they're going to run this world. It's not going to happen.
No.
It's written that they go to dust. And it's over for them. That's why they're desperate.
We just have to hold the line, basically, right?
Right. And we're doing decently so far, but we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks with the whole vaccine mandate going to the Supreme Court. The Daily Wire sued the shit out of them. And they're on the front line of it. They're the first ones that filed a lawsuit as soon as Biden even made a whiff of an argument about this.
Yeah.
That's why I love Ben Shapiro and those guys. They're amazing. And now that they got Candace Owens, and now they're bringing Jordan Peterson into the mix.
Did you watch some of the Jordan
It's
Peterson's talks with Ben Shapiro at the coffee
yeah,
shop?
amazing, amazing. His views on the transgenderism was pretty good.
Yeah.
Obviously, pretty much just like us. Like, don't force your idea on me. Do whatever you want, even if you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
As long as you don't hurt someone else. But they're trying to force kids to be that way. It's ridiculous.
So stupid. Well,
But we got to win the culture war.
Well, yeah. I mean,
That's for sure.
On that end of it, it's not necessarily like, and I may be wrong, but on the transgender and forcing kids, to have sex changes and all that stuff. I think it's more on what the parent wants versus what the kid wants.
I think you're right. Political points.
Political points. And it's like, you know what? Just let your kid be a kid. Just let the kid be a kid.
They're trying to take men away from the fight, is what they're doing. That's what it comes down to. The whole toxic masculinity crap. They're trying to take that away from the rebellion, is what it always comes down to with tyrants. They're trying to get the men away that can lead, which is almost every single person is a leader, and they just don't realize it.
Well, and you're trying to take men that can actually think for themselves, right?
Well, bingo. That includes women too, of course.
Well, yeah, okay.
But,
so the human race, taking people that can think for themselves and actually, put up a fight. Maybe not necessarily a fight, but like, say, no, we're not going to do this. This is stupid. Or, let's rethink this and realize that we need to do something different.
Exactly. Because there's some women like Candace Owens, I ain't messing with her ever. Like, I'm getting on her bad side.
I would love to have a conversation with her, because she just seems like she's very straightforward, which I love straightforward people. Like,
correct.
They'll bullshit me, tell me, what it is, or like it is or whatever, and I'm fine. And she does. Yeah. Did you watch the? I
things
watch
are.
It, but I need to. But did you watch the interview or whatever with? So Candace Owens between Trump. I don't know if that got released or not yet.
I saw a clip when she asked him about the vaccines.
Yeah.
And he endorsed it, and then she goes back and says it's killing kids. And then, like, she just grills him, doesn't softball him at all, which is necessary.
Well, wasn't he okay with it? Like he said, just ask me any questions. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't know if he's necessarily on their side. I think he's just endorsing it because they're giving him credit, and they're trying to inflate his ego, and that's how he is. He loves getting credit and being successful because that's how he is. He's a personality like that.
Yeah.
And they're going to use him to blame him for what's going to happen. Is a theory that I just saw recently I just was watching Alex Jones this morning that he came up with that. I'm like, that makes a lot of freaking sense. I'm like, yeah, that's a good way to think about it. They're setting him up, and he just doesn't see it because he's not really that smart to see the conspiracy there.
But I mean, he definitely saw that there was a lot of stuff going on anyways that was going to happen.
Well, yeah.
But no, yeah.
That's true too.
I understand what you mean.
Yeah, you feed someone's ego enough, they're blindsided, and then you strike.
Well, it's the same concept as putting so much information out there and distracting people. Same concept.
Correct. They're distracting us while there's going to, like, they're positioning things around the country, like the illegals that they're bringing in from God knows where, Russians, and there was Russians arrested at the border. Who knows how many got in? They don't have a problem killing us. They're positioning them all over the country, like it almost like they're gonna launch a coordinated attack at some point. that's just my fear is there's going to be mass deaths at some point, more than there already has been.
I think there's a lot of build up, to those kinds of things, because
it'll be a couple years, if not next year. Who knows?
like
Biden did threaten a winter of death for the non-vaccinated, whatever he means by that.
What an idiot. Why would you? Okay, and even the White House. What was it? I think it was the White House website or something like that. And my wife was showing me this. Is they actually have it on there, like exactly. Like you guys, the unvaccinated are gonna, a winter of death and blah blah blah. And I'm like, come on, why would a administration put that out there, like in a scare tactic for people?
Yeah, the person that's supposed to be the most virtuous person in the nation leading us, and he's like evil as hell. I still think he's not. I still think he's putting on an act sometimes with how stupid he really is. But he's definitely having some health issues.
Well, yeah, I think he's having health issues, but I think it's scripted. I think not scripted, being not the health issues scripted, but I think a lot of the things that he says, possibly
for sure.
Because I'm watching, I'm watching the show Designated Survivor, right? Have you heard about that show?
Oh yeah, I like that a lot. That show was good.
And a lot of the political strategies and like the positionings and and how you look to the media and how you look to the people and all that stuff, it's all political theater. It's all in the way that you want the people to see you. So all those meetings that they're having, they're probably looking at that going, okay, so how do we position to where he maybe look like an idiot, because there's an agenda.
Exactly.
There's something behind the scenes that's an agenda.
Yep. Right? They're just not ready to unveil it yet. Nope. There's a Hitler waiting to be unveiled at some point. It's going to happen. Unless or a Mao or a Stalin, whatever dictator you want to choose.
Well, yeah,
you just place them in.
They're slowly. I don't know if
Or it's Fauci.
There's no. They're slowly edging in things. And then, like I said, like with Oregon, they're slowly boiling people. Not literally, guys. Right. I'm talking about. But they're people are slowly being taken advantage of, I guess, and slowly, reduced down to mindless drones of people that don't think of themselves.
Yeah, it's just ongoing psyop, and people need to wake up to it.
Wake up, people. Jeez.
And it's crazy. I don't even think we're fully awake. Like, even us are victims of it sometimes too. And imagine.
I have to constantly look at stuff just to,
Who knows how to fully become awake? It's probably something illegal that you have to do.
Probably.
Some kind of magic mushroom or something. I don't know. Who knows?
How was it? I think it's on Telegram, but I follow a group. It's the conservatives or whatever. And they're like, what is it? It's continuously like shooting, different we are conservatives Telegram group. And it's like continuous stream of things that are going around the world or the United States and news clips and stuff. And I got 600.
Yeah, I got a couple of those.
I got 600.
Damn.
I turned off I muted it for a while because I was like trying to finish school and all that stuff. And right now I got 612 of these things to look through.
Jeez.
There's a lot
Good
of
luck
stuff.
With that. Yeah. It is. That's what I have a couple of people. Like I share with you, and then I share with that Angela person, and a couple of other channels on Telegram are constantly bombarding it with what's going on,
Yeah.
and it's impossible to pinpoint what to look at and what's really relevant.
Yeah.
Even the vaccine could be a distraction. You never know.
You know, for those of us, so those of you that are listening or in actually just watching, because watching, you know,
Sure, yeah.
watching, I'm always confused on that sometimes, but
They can watch with their ears.
you can watch with your ears. Yeah.
I do that.
Just you know, for me, it's like just think for yourself. Like, just look at the information. You know, and we'll put a lot of stuff in the comments or in the description too.
Right.
But just look at it. Like, just make your decisions, and don't blindly follow what we're telling you. You know.
Big time. Yeah, we'll put links to some of the books that people need to get while they can. Like 1984, Animal Farm. Even Klaus Schwab, the leader of the Davos Group, wrote a book called COVID-19: The Great Reset. And people still think it's a fucking conspiracy theory. I don't understand this.
Because
they're putting it right out there in front of us, and people think it's a conspiracy theory. Well, I don't understand that.
Isn't it goes to the same like if you look in the Bible where it talks about like, you know, those that are going to understand and versus those that are like you can't save because they're just, you know, they're not going to see, like their hearts are hard or something like that, like they're not going to be able to accept it or understand. I don't know. I'll have to. You there?
Yeah, it's being really slow the past minute.
Yeah, I just
like you sounded like a breaking up techno robot almost.
No,
yeah,
my internet
basically
got unstable, so yeah, it was weird. No, so what I was saying was that the idea of Christians and their hearts are hardened and they're not going to be able to accept Jesus in there at a certain point in time, right? So at a certain point in time with people here and what's going on, people are not going to be able to change because they've been so conditioned and taught to, you know, abide by the rules and all this other thing that they're not going to be able to listen.
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly right.
Cool. I think I'm gonna close it off here, and then
good idea.
I'll just stop the recording, and then so anybody that's been watching, thanks for watching, and I really appreciate it. Just make sure to comment and like, because you know we like to interact with you all. So but there's gonna be plenty of resources, plenty of things, social media and all that stuff that we're gonna have in the description. So all right, thanks guys.
Big time. Thank you. Peace out, brother.